Okay.
All right, it's 6:32 now, and we'll call the meeting of the Energy Committee for Wednesday on August 23rd, 2023 to order. We do have a quorum with Kevin, Maria, Kevin, myself here, and Melinda as moderator. And so we will start with the agenda. Is there anybody on? There's nobody here for public comment. Is there anybody online?
There's nobody online.
Okay, we will then move that along. Approval of draft minutes of August 9th.
Okay, just.
That was the one where a lot of discussion with Matt.
You want me to make that bigger? Yeah.
I don't have any comments on it because I wrote it, so.
Oh.
Oh, you wrote it? Yeah, because it was, Melinda was here last.
Alright.
I read it and didn't find anything. Change?
Any comments? Somebody like to make a motion to adopt as presented?
I moved, adopt the meetings as written.
Anybody second that?
I wasn't here.
You weren't here. I wasn't here. You weren't here. Then I think we'll,
I mean, so just as a technical matter, even if you weren't there, you can still vote on the minutes.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
well then I'll
A
second.
lot of people
Okay.
abstain, but,
alright.
okay.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor of adopting the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
And 4 ayes, there's nobody else to reject. So the 4, so it is passed.
Thank you.
All right, so, something has come up to all the committees in the town. The town has 1.6 or $1.8 million of ARPA funds to spend. And the town manager, Eric Wells, has asked all the committees to come up with ideas about what we should spend them on. And this is your document, right, Melinda? Or is,
Yeah, so,
so,
staff prepared a memo for the planning commission because they discussed. The ARPA funding at their last meeting, and Emily just made sort of like a list of potential projects based on past conversation, and so. The planning commission spent part of the meeting, prioritizing that and modifying some of those. Projects, and they had some projects that were energy related, which I'm also including in this list. Namely the number 1 project, closing the critical gaps in pedestrian and bicycle network. Yeah, so everything, I've got in parentheses where the project was also recommended by the PC. And then they had a discussion about some of those critical gaps, and also maintaining sidewalks, so that they can be more easily plowed in the wintertime. And then, just places where there's missing pieces, like Zephyr Place to Route 2A, Mountain View Road, which is a big project, just bike lanes or an off-road path, especially because there's gonna be so many new neighborhoods in that area. And also Maple Tree Place was noted as an area where there were a high concentration of accidents, and it's an area that has a lot of low income folk and a lot of kids walking around, so that was planning commission noted that as a high priority area. And then, designing the village to Tap Corners bike path connection, which has been, listed as a priority in the town plan for many years. PC is recommending that, and then they also had a discussion about like, how much difference is the ARPA funding really gonna make in this, like, how much could you actually do with design and permitting? And if it's, there wasn't an answer to that question, we didn't really know, and if it's just like a drop in the bucket, then maybe not spending ARPA money on that. And then, they also talked about a demonstration project in the parking lot of town hall. Building like a solar canopy, with the idea that a demonstration project could, demonstrate to developers in Tap Corners that, it's possible to use parking lots for solar canopy. And then also considering battery storage backup, as an alternative to the diesel generators. So a lot of the PC recommendations really were energy focused. Number 4 on, well, just number 4 and 5 really, because I wanted to keep it to one page. Were projects that I added based on what's kind of come up. The retrofitting lighting, I mean, mainly because and the window is sort of closing to get this done this year, so I don't know if it could happen, but if the lighting project got done this year, the town could save about $42,000 through point of sale rebates and an enhanced rebate through Efficiency Vermont. And as of January 1st, 2024, the state of Vermont is going to prohibit the sale of non-LED lighting products. So, the town is going to start to have much difficulty replacing tubes and indoor components and fixtures, and that's going to become a problem. So it just seems like
over plastic.
Yeah, well, okay.
Or Amazon.
Or Amazon, although if Amazon had any things, they would not ship to Vermont,
Right,
which they might not.
and then the last one is seeding an energy efficiency revolving loan fund, and then it would be, my recommendation would be to at least start it out as an internal revolving loan fund to fund projects, proposed by different departments, or municipal building upgrades.
Did we mention before the energy audits on the police station and the fire station?
So
Or that-
those are.
that could be funded elsewhere.
Right, so those are probably most likely gonna happen, actually, I would say 99% sure they're gonna happen at no cost to the town through the state's municipal energy resilience program.
Sorry.
So, yeah, I think that'll just happen.
5 is interesting, because 5 is just, we can do number 5 and still do a bunch of other stuff.
Mhm.
Now, like 5 is like, put the money here and then
Yeah.
distribute it, right? So like,
We can do 5 and then do 4 if we can't do
Exactly.
4 by the date. Does it have to be implemented by 2024?
No, 2026.
Yeah, it has to be spent by 2026.
Which is
Okay,
July, this coming July.
2026.
6.
No, but, but we have
Yep.
the
It has to be allocated by,
July,
2024.
yeah,
before, so the end of this, so
The end.
January of this year,
I think,
or is it July?
I'm not sure whether it
It's the
is,
fiscal year starts.
yeah,
Right.
but it's soon.
Yeah.
Whether it's January or July, the town's gotta make decisions on.
So I spoke, Eric had a meeting at the library where your people can come in, how to spend the money, so
Yeah.
I was the only person to show up, I think, and
Mhm.
I basically went right through this whole thing, except for the lighting.
Okay,
So first thing I brought in the article that we're gonna put out next week to say, routes to school. And I also took a page from V-Trans that said that asphalt, sidewalks and bike paths are half the cost of concrete. Why are we always putting in concrete? It's half as useful because of the way people travel today, scooters and other things. You know, and everyone knows that's my pet peeve for 20 years, but anyway.
It's a valid,
But I made a mistake and I came up with the article, but Kevin, what we need to do is put projects for safe routes to school
Right,
in front of them and say this intersection, this one.
Right,
and I wasn't able to make the safe routes to school meeting you guys had a few weeks ago, but Sustainable Williston has a big thread going about what does Sustainable Williston wanna advocate for, and I gave them a list of stuff that I can mention in a minute, but I also asked them to reach out to you and Amy.
Oh,
And
good.
maybe I just need to facilitate that myself. But if they
Yeah,
ever reach out.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
more involved than I am, actually.
Yeah, so, because I think that, you know, safe routes to school plus energy committee plus Sustainable Wilson all kind of giving Eric the same input on
Yes.
a couple key things I think would be huge.
Right, but I think whereas the planning commission needs to put down some specifics.
Yeah,
yeah.
We, for safe routes to school, we really need to get maybe before, right now,
Yeah.
school starting. Let's find out where the bottlenecks are and try to, how can we.
Well, that's it, you have to be, you think, really, 1.8 million sounds like a lot, but you also have every department and every committee and community members all vying for that.
Right.
That money can disappear very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So if you said, safe routes to school, and here's 2 crossings that would estimate the cost X dollars.
yeah,
That would be maybe a viable slice that we would get, because we're not gonna get 1.8 million as the energy committee,
Right.
we're gonna get, just say there's 10 committees, we're gonna get a tenth of it.
Well,
So-
and that's why my question that came up as soon as I read number 2 was, okay, do we have a rough estimate of what things cost, other than we know what the police station would cost?
Right.
Based on
Right,
Efficiency Vermont's estimate, assuming that's still valid, so plus inflation a little bit, I'm sure.
I mean, a village to Taft Corners bike path connection
That's,
would be millions of dollars.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
the planning for that
yeah,
alone would cost
Yeah,
a ton of money, so I was trying to think of, in your case, just like you said, like small, like very digestible, very easily estimatable projects that we can, because if it's concrete, I'm betting, like you said, it's probably more likely to get approved and get attention. So,
yeah, on Sustainable Wilson thread, one of the phrases they came up with, if you've done the shovel ready, like
Yeah.
we're ready to go, we
right,
know.
right.
Yeah.
So like, a few that, I also think we can probably be. I think you're right, that everyone's gonna be vying for a piece of this. I think we might be most successful in supporting other groups in doing what they want in a way that we want them to. So for example, like, can we support, I have no idea what Todd's gonna ask for, right? But can we support Todd in getting electric lawn care equipment, right, for the fields?
yeah,
So that was one of the things I protested. Another one was, we've already got a set of estimates, I think, for replacing non-emergency light duty town vehicles with EVs. Right, like the F-150 Lightnings, can we just go ahead and do that?
Well, when I spoke to Eric and brought that up, he said, well, we buy our vehicles through the state and we get a discount on the state. And I said, well, that might be cheaper when you buy it, but considering the life cost expenses, which I don't know if that's really true, because they don't get a lot of mileage, so the gasoline versus electric.
also if you're getting a
Right.
grant to take care of it. Or,
Cause the state, or
Yeah, so I pushed for it, he kind of like left it open, like, well, maybe we can consider light costs and then get a better, but he did sound like we do it this way until the state, So we'd have to take some convincing, I'm just letting.
To
you know
that
what he said.
end, I mean, to that, I'm working, I think I told you this at a previous meeting, but I'm working with, NREL, the carbon to carbon C2C program. I've asked them to like, basically develop just a plan to transition the town's fleet to electric. And, just taking into consideration all these cost, considerations, I mean, something a little better, or like just a little more detailed than the fleet analysis that was done with like the 2 public works trucks, just something more expansive and including all the light duty vehicles in town. So right now I'm like trying, to just get the project started, I'm trying to get data about the existing vehicles the town has, and having a little bit of a challenge in getting that, but just like trying
That
to.
should be something readily
It
available.
should be readily available, I'm
Given
like,
that
I'm
it's
just asking
budgeted.
for inspection records, who keeps the inspection records for town vehicles? And just trying to get that, so anyway, that should hopefully support those kind of requests, I would hope. So,
If it turns out, for whatever reason, we can't use the money to buy electric light duty vehicles for the town because of something to do with the town buying it from the state, I would love to know that and know the details so that we can push on our state reps to fix that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because like with all the focus on everything
Yeah.
climate at the state level,
Yeah.
if the town can't buy electric vehicles, so the state doesn't
That's
support that,
a, that's a bottom.
Well, it's it's weird, I don't really fully understand that, because all of that, the state's, what do you call it? I don't, whatever the program is, where the town purchases, services and and vehicles. That's run by, the Department of Building and General Services, and they're like supposed to be like all over this, the state's energy goals, so I think, the trouble they've had is in getting electric vehicles that they haven't been in stock at this,
That's
state.
understandable.
Right.
That's
So like,
true.
yeah, so that's.
It might be really hard to
So-
negotiate a good deal on electric vehicles right now,
Yeah.
too, given the low end.
Right.
Inventory.
But there are, I think, I don't know, there are rebates, the town can now get. A direct payment equal to a tax credit
Yeah.
that other entities can get, so there's that,
Yeah, for fleet, because they have them, or no,
so
I can't get a credit, but the town can.
No, it has to do with the town's status as a nonprofit, so it
It
doesn't
doesn't pay taxes.
pay taxes.
Ah,
So
And you can't get a tax rebate.
this is
Yeah.
a mechanism whereby even though the state doesn't pay taxes, they can still get,
Mhm.
essentially get.
Yeah, it was,
Okay, but I think your focus is right, and both of you are saying it, is that gotta get to the source of why Vermont's not
Right.
offering
well, and I mean,
these vehicles, and is it supply? 'Cause
and to back up a step, like, is Eric? I'd like to get I don't know who's responsible for facilitating those purchases for the town, maybe there's some more details that Eric just didn't have.
Well, and maybe they are available and they were unaware of that.
Yeah.
I feel like, the way that purchases happen is like really department by department, which is a little bit messed up, I think, or just.
yeah, it's not, Eric should be overseeing it, and that's another thing
I
I
mean-
said, that all these departments are authoritarian, that there's one person in the department, and he says, do this, and
Well,
they
it's,
do it, I mean, it's like, that shouldn't be the way it is.
I
It should
mean,
be-
it's overseen to the degree that, like, there's a capital budget and there's a vehicle replacement schedule in the capital budget.
And
but
there's
it's-
always people there saying, buy hybrid vehicles. When they review the budgets, I mean, 10 years ago, people were saying, why aren't you getting
Yeah.
hybrids?
Yeah,
And they,
um,
but now I just finally heard an answer from Eric, it's,
right,
they get a discount from the state, and the state's not offering them.
right,
The
well,
state's not offering electric vehicles.
Well, that's
Are they-
not the stock they have to pick from. That
Yeah,
Eric or
okay.
his
I
people
think
suppose
it
it.
really is a lag
but then-
supply that,
Yeah,
Right,
but when we purchase something. That's a capital expense, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, even a
If it's-
pickup truck, you
right,
know.
yeah,
So we're planning for the budgeting process a year in advance for when we want to do something.
Mhm.
And if it's a very big thing, like fire trucks and ambulances, you do multiple years in advance because they're all specialized, but let's just say a pickup truck. And we wanna go with an electric pickup truck. You're still talking at least saying for funding it, looking out. So why could we then begin to influence the state as to what's available or find another mechanism
yeah,
for it, you know?
Yeah.
My understanding of this thing is there are no off the table suggestions
Yeah.
for this ARPA money. But to your point, if you have one that's very concrete, like I can do this, you know, then
Well, right,
it
and
makes sense. So if you say I could buy a Ford Lightning electric truck for $65,000. Based on today's thing, and you put in that as a project, just like these, complete this little chunk of sidewalk. I know that's about 100 yards, because it's
Yeah.
right on my street,
Mhm.
you know, that's not like it's 2.5 miles between these tap corners in here.
yeah,
Those are very. Very measurable, you know, in terms of what people are asking for.
well, and for this funding here, well, is there any requirement that the town buys vehicles from the state?
no. Mhm.
No,
Okay, so we have money,
it's just the savings.
right, so the money rained down, we've got the money.
Mhm.
We know that we can take advantage of tax credits, which might allow us to buy it cheaper than the state would, or as cheap as the state would sell it to us for. And
If
we've,
they could get one.
and we've got an assessment that's at least a starting point for justifying the costs, I mean, justifying the
Or we will.
technology change, right?
Right.
So do you think the assessment we read before isn't comprehensive enough, or
Public
is it?
Works, I mean, I think it's got some good information in it, and I don't know, probably, I mean, by way of example, I think it could probably be real, you know, illustrative of.
Because it was just focused on
Like it,
the F-150
yeah,
use
just
case,
like
yeah.
2 vehicles,
But I mean, that would be two great ones to
Yeah.
start with.
right. Yeah, I mean, my understanding of the state discount is that it's substantial enough, it might even be like 50% of what it normally costs. Is that it's a real like incentive for the town, that's, you know, that's kind of why, like.
Mhm.
Right, but maybe there is, the state wants to go more electric
Yeah,
and maybe we need to get on a waiting list.
yeah, yeah.
If we make the request
Mm,
and we have until 2026, I don't know.
Well, there's also
Spend the
the,
money.
like, when it's the town's like capital budget money we're spending, right? Like,
mhm.
again, the 50% discount feels different to me than when we have like a one-off chance like the ARPA funding to actually
Mhm.
do
Yeah.
something really concrete.
Yeah,
There's one other thing I'd recommend to.
So can we just give a bunch of things that put our support behind a bunch of ideas that are concrete?
mhm.
I don't see like then that there's any reason we don't throw our support behind any feasible, estimatable project.
Uh-huh,
So. The vehicle for let's take the two F-150s.
yeah,
Who owns those? Who's responsible for
Bruce
those?
or,
yeah,
It's
Bruce.
Bruce.
Mhm.
So is there like, how would that play out, like to basically partner with Bruce to, because it'd be weird if we asked for new vehicles for him, but like, would we work with him to put in the request? As a partnership, so we can support,
I think it'd be reasonable for you to make a request, just because like Bruce is the department head, I mean. You can still make a request that says, you know, like, replace, public works light duty vehicles.
Mhm.
You know, that, I don't know, at least one pickup truck or 2
Yeah.
pickup trucks.
well, I mean, here, for number 4, you didn't go to the police station. And tell
Well, I-
you, or did you go to
Well, that's
No,
all
I
right,
worked-
like,
I
it's
did
tech
work,
research.
I
You
worked
work
with the departments to the extent that, you know, I basically, I just said. you know, would you be okay with us getting an estimate to, you know,
Yeah,
redo the
right,
lighting
so
in this
that would-
building, because.
Okay.
Whatever,
What's the ROI on that project? I mean, I could see the one
It's-
reduces the cost of $42,000 if you did it this year,
mhm.
but you're gonna spend $250,000 to change lights.
It's not great, I mean, it takes like many years to like.
Is it more
recoup
than
that
5?
investment. Yeah. It's way more in some case, I mean, in the best case scenario is 12 years.
Cause they're already fluorescents, right?
Yeah, they're already, most of them, yeah.
But a lot of it was they're staying on constantly. too,
Right, that's, you know, when I look at the police, station electric usage, it's like really high, so I suspect that.
And it's probably like this, yeah,
Yeah,
there's no pit, there's probably no variation across.
It isn't like at home where all the lights go out.
Yeah, exactly, it's, they're always on.
so, I mean, so it's not just LEDs, it's like having integrated controls and
Right.
lights and.
Which is almost as expensive as putting LEDs in, you know?
And the 250K includes the,
That's the police station and fire station and this
This
building,
building.
yes.
So
with
actually,
lights and the controls, the whole shebang.
Yeah,
see, that is
controls where appropriate, like it's not.
I think that's a good
necessarily
project, you know?
Yeah.
If you have other. Yeah, it's saying you have other research, and even if you say it's a 12-year
Yeah,
ROI
12
on it,
years, we're not gonna,
it's
That was
still
best case.
better. Well, we
But this
also
building is
best
more
case.
like 25 years
Yeah.
because it just doesn't seem,
Because they're not
People turn
leasing
off
all
the
night long
lights.
anyway.
the lights get turned off.
but however. The lights, we've been told, you know, I've been told the lights are just so bad for you, you know, these
Yeah.
lights, it's just.
But,
These are terrible for your eyes. That's a good reason.
yeah,
Well, yeah, and that's like, you're not gonna be able to replace these.
Yeah.
So
you're not gonna be able to.
it's an
replace them
inevitable
easily,
cost.
That is almost like
Right,
an edict to every commercial building in the state to get rid of the fluorescent tubes that are overhead. You know?
So
mm,
kind of strategically thinking,
Yeah.
if there isn't a substantial energy savings, like we're talking like 12 to 20
Yeah,
plus
but
years, right?
but the light fixtures are gonna be there for 50.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if they have to be changed anyways,
right.
They have to be changed anyway.
right? So just from the perspective of this money, this like one
Yeah.
shot deal.
Mhm.
And you
Not
can capture
substantial
that
energy
42.
savings, and they're gonna get done
Yeah.
one of these days
maybe
anyways, it's just the
piecemeal or
course of
whatever.
normal action.
Yeah,
Right,
Maybe that's not.
Yeah.
A good use of the ARPA funding.
yeah,
but you're able to capture $42,000 if you act on it now.
That's true.
Well, if you act on it by the end of this calendar year,
it's
yeah,
the calendar year.
which
and-
means you're already the first of September.
Oh,
you're talking
yeah,
about
and you've
that.
already said that you can't get the work done before this year.
Well, it's just, the window is just really closing at this
Yeah.
point. I
To get
think.
contractors.
So that may not be, you know, I threw it out there, but it may not be like worth kind of keeping in your.
And most of the work, most of the cost, is it the materials or is it because the materials you potentially could get this year?
Yeah, but.
And then, but the contractor to install them.
Well, usually the materials come through the contractor,
Yeah, and it's
but
a
that's
little,
usually how Efficiency Vermont requires it to happen.
right, yeah, I mean, I forget the breakdown, but, I think a lot of it was labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, majority of it.
The other, so the third suggestion I had, so I had the light duty vehicles, the. Rec and parks equipment. Parks.
Yeah.
And then the third one was expanding the EV. Charging, I think we've already got a.
That's in-
32,000.
Yeah,
We've
that's
got some
already-
allocated already, right? But
Yeah.
that, I think, only covers. The installation of like one dual pedestal stand. Was it-
Maybe two, like more like, well, let's see.
There's two heads, is that it?
almost two.
almost, okay.
Yeah,
So, you know, maybe we can do another 30 to 50K and install 2 more sites. So whatever,
yeah,
I'm wondering if that's gonna be terribly popular though, given they've already allocated some of the money to that particular
Hmm.
venture.
Is that the one going to community park?
yeah,
Like across the street?
yep,
Yes, around the backside, yeah.
and then an extension of that would be outfitting one of the, you know, this space here.
Well, that's canopies, that's on number 3.
Yeah,
Oh.
wasn't that part of the whole? The canopy, wasn't that to be included in this whole parking lot project?
well, that's being proposed. It's not like included at this point, but it needs to be, if, you know, if it is to be included, it needs to be, you know, advocated for, like,
It needs funding.
it needs funding.
So this is a mechanism to fund it. I don't know how big a canopy one would propose
They're
out
not-
there.
No,
Well, I've seen them done on, out of logs.
Well, yeah, but on that over a parking lot,
I know.
it's gonna have to be at a
Mhm.
much more rigorous
I know.
standard. As someone whose pergola was absolutely shattered by snow falling off our snow panels, or
Oh, no.
our solar panels this year,
Yikes.
wanna build those correctly.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, it's not just gonna happen, it's like if it needs to be.
Yeah.
You know,
I
needs to be
almost-
funded.
When I read that one too, I almost kind of debated the value, because yes, it might demonstrate to developers, but will developers actually spend the extra money? Yeah, but it's like the least cost effective way of installing solar.
But I mean, actually, if you think about all the people who live in apartments there, they're gonna like, well, I can't get an electric car ever, because I live in an apartment.
For the solar
Yeah.
canopy, I mean, but
Yeah, that's the solar, that's half corners.
So
That's,
you're talking about a solar canopy with EV charging under.
yes,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, but if we're trying to sell this to the developers,
That's what we want them to do, so really, that's what we would like.
yeah, I just don't think the economics work in
I
most
think we might have had this
cases.
discussion before, and but that, like, to me, you know,
well, it's.
when I
two
walk
products,
around
right?
and when I see those buildings,
Yes,
I
it
say,
is.
how are they ever gonna go EV? You know, unless their workplace provides charging while they're at work, because. So this is the means that it could happen, and this canopy
Well,
with
it's-
chargers, yeah.
Sure, but there's a difference between installing a charger and building a solar canopy.
Right, right.
And the economics of a solar canopy. Generally speaking, unless you have a large load, like, it's hard to justify. And I'm not sure putting one up is going to get a bunch of developers being like, oh yeah, it does work. Just don't think,
I think
you
in Scandinavia, they're going ahead with it.
Because they have a government that backs.
yeah, I was like, there's also very different,
But we could also install a boatload of chargers without a solar canopy, right?
yeah,
I mean, we.
Because you just be using the current electric.
Yeah,
System, yes.
and cause Kevin, I agree, the availability of charging to folks that live not in single family standalone homes is a major impediment, and
So is that maybe, I mean, we want something, we want. As an energy committee, we should try to find, what are the biggest needles we can push on climate, you know, for the climate?
I think,
And what's the biggest levers that we can push?
so take
And maybe, you know, there's a lot of people who live there.
So take that idea though, and what's the, when we've talked about EV charging in the past, we've looked at town facilities like the library, the fields, et cetera, where someone would be there for a soccer game, the library, right? the best place in town to put, like, if we do wave a magic wand and put EV charging, like level 2 EV charging somewhere where it's gonna have the most impact, it would be in Taft Corner. Taft Corner, right?
Yeah.
Does the town own any land?
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, remember, I talked to the energy committee a while back about the multimodal hub.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Next to
that piece of
Shaw's.
land, and there, the design, the final design is calling for EV chargers, but that's not gonna happen in the near future, probably.
what about any of the parking lots? Like, I'm thinking like, so take the Shaw's as an
Yeah.
example, take the Shaw's parking lot,
Mhm.
right? The Shaw's parking lot is, like, the part that's right along Williston Road is on bike paths, safe crosswalks, crossing signals, people that live in Finney could charge a car overnight there,
Yeah,
right? And if, you know, even if the town doesn't own it, like a bank of level 2 chargers there
mhm.
would provide the folks that live in Finney a site. Similarly,
There are
you
some,
could lease like a row of
Yeah.
spots in one of the other lots, even closer to Finney, like the El Levine or Healthy Living.
there's the row of Tesla chargers and Healthy Living.
Yeah.
Parking lot. There's,
There's 3
Uh,
double ones
Home
behind
Two
the.
Suites.
Some just we has some level 2s, yeah.
Yeah.
level twos, but yeah, I mean, I think, you know, one thought might be to how to get developers to, or landowners to, install chargers on their, you know, like at Cottonwood, I'm thinking, there's a lot of businesses there now, and so if there, and apartment buildings or apartments. So if there was level 2 charging there.
So could we use some of this money to fund an incentive for the developers to install?
That would be an idea, yeah.
I mean, Cottonwood would be great, Cottonwood would be great, because they're still building it.
Right, yeah. And,
And there is housing,
yeah, there's housing, yeah, and there's also, I mean, there's the state program of, funding, charging for multi-unit apartments,
yeah,
I, you know, that, I don't know, about a year ago, I reached out to CHP and they had applied for that grant, weren't doing any sites at Williston, but at least I feel like I put a bug in their ear to consider, like either Separate Place or Maple Tree Place, Maple Tree Housing rather, to,
I think the owner of Maple Tree Place, the houses there,
Maple Tree Housing.
was actually applying for the state grant.
CHT.
Does CHD own it?
I think so, yeah.
I can't remember who I talked to, but he owned what he described as lower income housing in Williston, and he was applying for the grant for that.
Okay, well,
But it not fall back, I'm sitting here,
That's
I know who that was.
If
um,
you have to look at allocating this 1.8 million, and you say what gets you the best overall town visibility. I like the one of working with Rex and Park to try and get them to move to electric hauling and tools.
Yeah,
Because it's very valuable, it's also not overly expensive.
No, those
No,
things
so
are
take even the
very,
commercial size ones that they're running around with right now, and their trimmers and all that other stuff. To take a fleet wholesale, because those things only last about 3 years anyway, so when they wear out, but take a wholesale fleet conversion to electric. There's something, and again, because we're competing with, as we put in 4 or 5 or 6 different ideas. I think the ones that are going to get picked are the ones where Eric starts it and the select board starts at 1.8 million and starts subtracting till you get to 0. If you have one that's 20,000, it's got a good idea. We're doing this in the Catamaran Forest Committee that I'm on too.
Mhm.
And we have to come up with things, and some are like, oh, trail markers. Well, how much is that? Well, it's about $2,000. Oh, there's an item, because people get lost in the woods over there. you know?
Oh,
And
yeah.
So
All the
there's
time.
something that says, without going to for the normal budgeting, we'll just ask for $2,000. I don't know if that's the real number, maybe it's 3,000, but anyway, it's a small number. And you do these in little slices, there is, from what I've read of this, there's articles in the paper, the state level act, because every town's being asked to do this. You can also do it for the planning process of a project. So like we were discussing, building a bike path from here to Cap Corners is expensive, but if you ask for, you know, $50,000 due to the planning,
That's not nearly enough.
it
No, I was
probably
gonna be like-
maybe $200,000 to do the planning, you know? And before you know it, you've eaten up your 1.8 million.
It might actually pass the better part of
1.8 million.
$1
Yeah.
million to do that big of a project on a state route and,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think anything where, if we can partner with another town, group, committee,
Uh-huh.
whatever.
Yeah.
Then I feel like that would give us more oomph in front of the select board.
That's why
What about
the
the-
light
The rec
duty,
committee,
light duty.
Yeah, so that-
units
Yeah,
With public works, the electric mowers,
with,
Renton Park, you know, and so.
and then the second thing I like, this was like the whole thing behind the Inflation Reduction Act. It's not just paying for stuff, it's providing incentives and creating partnerships where you basically use the money as leverage, right? If we were able to find some way to use some of the money to incentivize developers to install EV chargers, we're gonna get a lot more bang for the buck because we're contributing to the solution, but they need to put some skin in the game as well. They get to take some state funding for it. There's probably some ways to stretch the money a little bit more. From that.
Yeah, what we heard from Matt last week when we weren't here was, so I asked about, and we're talking about the, energy plan and I was, and changes to bylaws, and so I said, you know, what happens if you made, you know, being net zero, it allows you to get allocation without going through the planning,
growth management,
growth
growth management.
management, and just get your allocation, you don't have to wait, or get in the queue. And he said that they have this high standard, this, you know, but the developers are not taking advantage of the, you know, going really, green solar or anything like that. They just say, you know, I can get the points without, and get that to that, or I don't want to, it's not worth it to me to spend the money on that. So, you know, if we could get somehow incentivize developers. I don't think it's good, we can convince Eric, he's the one making the decision, but that would be a good way to do it, is to say, you know, like for apartment buildings, if we're gonna build more apartments at Cottonwood. Build in, if you have a parking garage or you have your parking lot, build in some chargers so people can have EVs there.
That's probably something that it's gonna take a lot of thinking and a lot of policy, and that, I'm not sure we can turn that into a line item on an ARPA spending budget, that's the only problem. Cause you're right, it's gonna take bylaw amendments, it's gonna take changing the whole incentive structure. Clearly, the incentive structure right now, there are points to get elsewhere that are easier.
Yeah, I would agree that, I think with this funding, focusing on projects can be easily implemented and projects that will have a big impact for the money is probably the best you can do.
Well, maybe, should we start making a list of things that we can get behind? I think that's the most concrete thing to do, because we have the fleet,
Yeah.
we have the electric park and recs equipment.
Mhm.
I think it's worth, if we can, if we can leverage other groups, like what are two crossings near the schools that we want made safer?
Yeah.
You know,
We work with Safe Routes to School to identify
Yeah.
those.
yep, exactly. So there's three very different groups within Williston already
Yeah.
that we can put behind.
Additional chargers or perhaps.
Yeah, but
Yeah, then we
I'd say
can do
like
that.
even 50K to put a couple,
Non-Tesla
2, 4.
superchargers.
yeah, well, not even,
Yeah.
not superchargers, but like just some L2s.
Yeah,
But in very prominent locations, like
Yeah.
Apple, right in front of the library would be a good one, I think.
yeah,
If we're trying to show how we're, show like, right up front, hey, look how we spent that money, there it is.
I've just noticed there, all those Tesla chargers that are by Healthy Living. They're not utilized on the whole lot.
No,
No, there's usually two
Yeah.
cars there, right?
And I know they're moving toward, you know, universal
Yeah, that
adoption of
being a
that technology,
universal.
but half of us can't use them anyway. So,
So if you did look at another level control, you just said the library. That's puts it within town property.
Yeah.
Makes it very visible with the number of people who come through there.
Yep.
And then somebody would put even one double-headed unit at the far end of that strip by the library,
right.
down by the grass there.
Yeah.
what about the,
So-
what about the rec zone? Is that ours? That
No,
property? No.
Right.
Okay.
This least.
just a thought about the library and, so Todd's sort of, I don't know, I wouldn't call it objection, but his one concern about EV chargers in the village lot, the village park, is that he basically considered it as losing parking spots. Like he said, I don't wanna, he said he didn't wanna lose any parking spots to EV chargers, so he actually had two more spots put in anticipation of
A community park,
chargers.
charging
community
area.
park. So I'm wondering if
I wonder
it's
how
gonna be a
Burlington
similar
does it.
concern with the library and that.
But it's still, you can get turned down. But if you're looking for concrete things, street crossings.
Yeah, no, I
An
understand.
EV charger, you know.
We could
electric
give
mowers, they become
multiple
very,
location.
yeah, we could throw out any kind of list in
Mhm.
here.
What are other town-owned pieces of land that don't have?
Yeah, it's the one at Taos Corner, is it paved, or is it
No,
grass?
it's the grass between Shaw's parking lot and that drainage pond.
Well, it's not, it's, part of it is a small parking lot, that's currently used by Shaw.
Yeah.
Is it that side parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we could put one there, doesn't have great visibility, but it's.
No,
They're not, those spots aren't used very often though, so
Right.
that's
So
probably.
it's a good
one.
place to go to charge, if you,
That's
someone
true.
who lives at Finney Crossing or Maple Tree Place can get over there pretty quickly.
Yeah, cause you're never gonna get people to put them,
Yeah,
or at least right now, like in that circle or by plus B or by any of
and
those.
as you said, what's the alternative? There's Tesla chargers at Healthy Living, there's nothing there.
Yeah,
So-
There's also the, I think I'm pretty much sold Bruce on the idea of putting in a charging station back in the parking lot, so. at
Here,
least he's
here.
Sort of resigned to the idea, so,
And what about for the police? Aren't they getting it as well?
they are getting, or they would like to have EV ready, so they want conduit run too. I think they're pretty supportive of transitioning to electric vehicles, but it's.
is it Richmond that has?
Richmond has
They
a
have a
task fire.
Tesla, and they're not, they'll like it.
It's not,
Interesting.
There's not enough room. for-
Yeah, I was
Car
like, I
package
wouldn't
is
say,
a
I wouldn't think of
large
that as a.
officer with a lot of like.
Well, yeah, I was like, that doesn't
Regardless
seem
of that,
appropriate
it
anymore, I
will
would
look
think
like
like an
a
SUV
vehicle
or
we
like
have
a
to put
plug-in
people in the
hybrid
back
would
seat.
make more
Right.
sense for
The
that.
slow
Okay,
ground for them.
Yeah.
Cause like plug-in hybrids, that could take care of a lot of their need too,
Yeah.
and there are some very.
That's right, and the 50 mile, like on a RAV, you get 50 miles and then.
There aren't towns that big here, I mean, you can
Yeah.
loop Williston a lot of times just on electric.
Wait, I think there's a number of other towns that like the Model Y or the Mustang Mach-E, they're finding it to be a better fit. But
Oh, the
the
Mach-E.
comments that I heard from the
Yeah.
Richmond police officers are when they're all decked out and all the stuff,
It's hard to.
getting in
figure.
and out of
It
the
is.
three, and plus they didn't outfit it for prisoner trans or for, I don't know what the right word, is, for transport of someone that did something bad, right? So I don't think they get like the separator and all that other stuff, yeah.
But we started this discussion, I think, back on this getting vehicles from the state, and that's the problem. But the idea of the plug-in hybrid is excellent, because 50 miles is a lot for one of
Yeah.
these cars, and if you really had to go, the rare occasion that you go somewhere, you're not gonna be going on 4,000 miles, right? You're gonna go for 200 miles,
Mm.
so
Yeah,
they would be a better.
unless you're getting called into, what do they call that, not the resource sharing, but essentially support.
Oh,
What do they call that when?
But it's not like
Our
a plug-in
fire-
hybrid stops.
It's,
It just kicks over to gas.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, so the rare times that we're called in for mutual aid, I
Mutual
think is
aid,
what they
yes.
call, then it would probably kick over, but when they're just patrolling Williston, they're
yeah.
gonna be on electric most of the time.
Yeah, all the time.
And then they can take their break while they're charging.
And they're not idling, they mostly, and especially in the winter, that engine's on all the time.
Yeah, well,
And it's just polluting for no reason, right?
Right, but that vehicle is still drawing on its batteries.
When it's heated.
When there's either AC, because it's the hot or it's cold, right?
As I understand, they keep them running to keep the computers.
Yeah, it's more the
inside for
technology.
So you're
There's
still
a
drawing on that battery system,
Yeah.
whether it's
Yeah.
full EV or it's a hybrid.
Yeah,
So even if we were to go to
But-
hybrid, that would be,
but we're in a very special place where our energy is very, carbon free. Most of the country is not like that. So when they get an EV, it's not nearly as beneficial as here. So there's a lot of, I don't know, that's
Although
gonna
an
win the
EV
argument.
even though a EV charged on coal power is still better than do the life cycle analysis, but yeah, it's a much bigger gain for us because of our grid.
So,
Okay, the projects,
Suggest
yeah,
something. So, because we do have other things, we're looking at Ericsson, we have August and September to put this together.
Yeah.
right, To this, so we got next meeting also to.
Yeah.
Continue, and hopefully we'll get the other members in here, discussion. And do you have enough to add more
I
to
can-
this list?
yeah, so,
or put
so
it in the
just to
minutes,
read it
yeah.
back to you.
Yes.
Your ideas, Parks and Rec equipment, electrical equipment, and probably can come up with some kind of, maybe like a range of budget for that. Light duty electric vehicles, for other department, like for public works trucks, maybe a couple light duty.
Would you wanna put plug-in hybrids there, just as a, so just anything, because it's always the,
Right.
no, we can't do that. So if you just open the door a
Yeah.
little bit, give them so they can say no.
Plug-in hybrids or electric, or all
Yeah,
electric vehicles.
right.
And, let's see, more money for additional EV chargers
But should we give specific
at
locations?
the library.
Well, let's give a list of potential locations that can be chosen,
Yeah,
Okay,
but we can give a number of chargers.
I think we got that from last time,
Uh-huh.
we called out, there's the town lot, sorry, the town hall lot, there's the library,
yeah,
community park, which is where they're going,
yeah,
Roswell Park, right up on Industrial Ave, was
mhm,
one of the ones we called out.
yeah,
but I
What's that
think,
up
I
there?
think
What's
the town parking lot at Taps Corners, there's a lot of.
Yeah, so it's at that as
That
well.
one is, I think, probably get more use than Rossendale Park.
mhm.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah, Roswell Park, quite a waste.
Cause you have all those people at the hotels. Oh,
Okay.
they have, yeah.
So let's,
And then was there anything else after that?
The crossings for
The
safe.
crossings.
Yeah, right,
Safe
safe
routes to
routes to
school.
school, working with safe routes to school to
Yeah.
identify a couple.
So we'll have to identify some very specific.
Yeah, I'll
places.
email, or do you wanna email Amy tonight about that, or should I?
Either way, I'll shoot an email to Amy when I get home, I'll CC you.
I'm sorry,
I'll
okay,
speak-
thank you.
I'll email Amy and keep you in the loop.
Great,
So I'll modify the list and, add these projects and then we can discuss them next time.
Good.
okay, but we don't have on there the fire station and the police station.
So,
So are we not
oh,
supportive of
I
that?
just meant, I read back to you what you guys discussed
Yeah,
tonight in
okay.
addition.
So it's kind of adding on to this
Yeah.
list, you know, because this is what the first three were what the planning commission had recommended that had energy implications. The next two were what Melinda suggested, and now we've added 4 or 5 other things.
Yeah.
So then we'll have to pare that down and say, what do we want to support?
So next time, we should pare that down. And we should also come prepared to talk numbers and how we
Yeah,
wanna present them as far as priority. Or maybe we don't give a priority to them, we let the,
Yeah,
who, the powers that be decide. what the
I
priority
think
is.
you're gonna bump up against time to do all this because. The next meeting, there's a PUC, there's a couple of PUC projects that. Have, I mean, so, yeah. This stuff came up while I was on vacation, the PUC projects need to
Those are
be
the solar ones.
reviewed,
Brought up.
commented on. That'll happen next meeting, and then wrapping this discussion up. And, can't remember, there's something else, planning for the energy fair.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
next.
which I believe is next.
Between now and next meeting, Melinda, do you think you or maybe you and some of us could find time with Bruce and with Todd, try and generate some excitement?
I think Todd be all over this,
Okay.
I can talk to him.
He's Parks and Rec.
Yeah, and Bruce, he's just sort of like, my sense is
How old is he? Has he been in the role for a long time?
yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. We're working up against,
Yeah.
I don't like
I don't think
change.
he'd
And
be,
his-
I don't think he'd be against it.
Okay.
But,
It just likes what he knows.
yeah.
And when I spoke to Eric, I pointed out that, he doesn't seem to care about bikes, so they repaved Mountain View Road. They put the fog line as far out, right above against the edge, where other towns, they measure it out. And they give you, it's like, so the morning before seeing Eric, I'm sorry, this guy. I was biking with friends, we biked up from CVU Hill, coming up to Oak Hill Road. And then you had a nice shoulder, it was like 1.5 feet. And then you see the Williston sign. Entering Williston, and it goes to nothing.
Yeah.
And then so you're on Oak Hill Road, and I get off on South Road, which is no traffic, but Oak Hill, it's deadly.
Yeah, or it's hard.
It's
Yeah,
deadly,
I wouldn't.
and the town could improve it, they could just widen it. Spend 10% more when they're paving and widen it.
My son's going into freshman year at CVU.
I'm sorry?
My son's going to freshman year at CVU.
Yeah.
Big, runner, biker.
He could take an electric
He's like, oh,
bike
yeah, I'm
there.
gonna bike to school. I'm like, you are not biking on Oak Hill.
No, I don't even want my kid to drive on Oak
Yeah.
Hill.
No, our
That's
kid
terrifying.
did drive it.
Yeah.
Or actually, probably one, but I know of a biker who's died on Oak Hill Road.
Yeah, the whole route to CVU terrifies me, thinking of teenagers driving
50 miles an hour.
on a blind road. You can't see.
Well, that's not, Oak Hill's not, but if you take 2A, it's 50 miles an hour. It's like, my son was driving this. Oh, man,
Yeah.
no.
Moving on,
Yeah, so planning.
Sorry.
energy fair.
Yeah.
Do you wanna start with the document I put together? Kevin, I did draft.
Oh,
You
yeah.
did.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
I did.
I realized it had fallen down on my priority list and I did it this morning, so.
Okay, did you
So-
email it yet? or-
No, it's for discussion right now, so I'm just
Okay.
gonna bring it up.
Because I have 2 people
Yeah,
waiting for it, yeah.
No, we have a lot of people probably, I just want to get consensus on this. So this is for the companies and nonprofits and people who sign up. I just threw this together. It just basically outlines, when, where, and why, and what we're expecting them to do and setting up. And it's nothing magical or different than last year, really.
I had 2
And-
questions from Suncommon that I don't see answered here.
Which is,
How much space do they have? And how much does it cost?
okay, and then Melinda had put together this outline, map, and which is basically the same one we had last year, you
Yeah.
know.
So, sounds like tents, right? So,
And so you have enough room
I
for
said-
a basic
I
8
said
by
a
8 tent.
canopy, okay. I
Is your,
said,
is yours 8 by 10? It's square.
I think it's 10 by 10.
10 by 10, so a 10 by 10 tent, so I could put that in there, cause I put 10.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, I put
Yeah,
10 by
put
10,
10
so
by
they don't
10.
show up with some humongous
Right,
circus tent.
and they
Uh,
also asked if there was a fee,
No.
because some places,
And our problem is I want this to keep this to one page.
yep,
I can shrink the font and do that, and
no, is there just somewhere we could?
I can, well. The problem is, as soon as you do that, see, that's, I already shrunk the map down, I can take the, you know, we can do the whole top line that up in the header. That it can go down in font size. The Williston Energy Fair, that's huge.
Yeah.
And that would be in this a line or two. The trouble is, that was word art, I shouldn't have done that.
Okay.
Yeah, delete it, please,
Delete it.
delete it, yeah, just hit delete.
No,
Alright,
can you,
and then you might be able to get a line in without losing.
take that bit?
I don't know, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out
We
too
don't
on
have to do it
cost,
right now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cause I'd
we-
like to not just do it page
All right,
break, just to turn this into a PDF,
yeah,
send it to people, so that all
There
our
you go.
contacts.
yeah.
So is that purple square where the electric yard,
You know, that's
like,
the other thing, we can't see that wording.
yeah, I don't think it works.
or does it say
I
e-bike?
can't read it, I
You
can't
can,
read
you
any of
can,
it.
you can see it, it's the screen.
Oh, okay,
Gotcha,
okay.
so
Yeah.
vendor parking, EV displays, what's yellow and what's pink?
yellow is attendee parking.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
attendee parking here, EV display here, same as last year. Partner tents
Yeah.
There and there.
there. No e-bike demo, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
They can't make the, yeah.
So I reached out to all of the companies for electric lawn maintenance and nobody responded.
Oh, easy, I got Easy Lawnsy, or E-Lawnsy.
Elon's,
He called me, he said, you know, he apologized for not getting back to me, and, he called me, and he lives up the street from me, so I said I'd bring the flyer by his house.
gotcha.
Did anyone reach out to Steven from Moa Electric?
I did, and
You did.
he can't participate, but he is going to send me a banner, or he's gonna drop off a banner and some literature
Okay.
beforehand, so we'll have it there, but we won't have his presence. I'm wondering about having electric lawn equipment on display.
It can't be running.
Right,
It
it can
can't
be,
go around mowing,
it can be displayed, it can't
Has to
be
be
like
static.
turned on or anything.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, good. Yeah,
So
so I haven't got a commitment from them, but they,
okay, cause
he
Elon said not
called
to
me,
back
he's
to me.
interested. And when I see him face to face, I'll find out, I'll put it in the spreadsheet, whether
He
it's,
lives in Williston, doesn't he? You said he's right in your neighborhood?
on my street. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are we doing here in terms of who's been contacted, who we got?
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't update the sheet. I spoke, Sun Common is, they, responded with a couple of questions. And I told them I'd have this sheet and then we'd talk.
Okay,
Okay,
I actually asked them how, you know, what were they thinking of size? And they haven't responded, but,
we could probably have bigger if they want. Let's see.
yeah, so I'll let you know if it's a yes or no. And I put the name in, I'm sorry I didn't do it yet. Out in the woods.
Okay, and then, I don't know, I haven't heard anything from Vermont Energy Co-op, but Vermont Building Energy is coming. Vermont Gas.
yes, they have both, yes,
Okay.
I just need to
Not
send
surprised
them
Green Mountain Solar's gonna show up. I'm surprised Sun Commons maybe,
Yeah, they'll be there, they'll be there. They sounded very interested.
because it's like, this is
Yeah,
their bread and.
but they didn't, until they get the sheet, they didn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
E-lawn is a maybe or likely, you know, I'll speak to him face to face with the sheet in hand.
Mhm,
I spoke to him on the phone.
mhm. Okay, so it looks like,
And Safe Routes, Amy can't make it. She said she'd try to get somebody, but again, it's, no, she's gonna try to get someone from
Oh,
local
right.
motion. But she hasn't, she was on vacation too. She just got back Monday.
And
Drop the
the
ball.
local motion couldn't do the bike. The bike
Mhm.
thing.
Is there anybody else we wanna add? Okay, here. So Efficiency Vermont hasn't confirmed.
uh,
Yeah. You're right.
Aaron Moriarty.
Those, that's actually, we've got them there twice, it's the same, Drive Electric and Efficiency Vermont,
Yeah.
I think is ultimately the same person that would come.
Mhm.
Is it Becca Custer? Or she was on the. He was on when we get to the Champlain Fair, she's the one that's been on there. Now,
Really?
she moved from VCAN to Efficiency Vermont.
Aaron's the one that I've been emailing with this
Okay.
summer.
Okay,
Aaron's the one that I've worked with for Isham for next week.
okay.
And obviously, yeah,
Okay.
Dave Roberts is the EV guy, he was at the Waterbury one last week when I was there.
Mhm.
Waterbury allowed people to drive the lawnmowers around.
That's awesome.
Are there any of the bike shops? Do we ask them for electric bikes? Is that a problem?
There, Earls.
Earls, it could be, you could put
Yeah,
me down
I go to
for
Earls.
Earls.
Mhm.
They would put me down
Yeah.
for Earls?
Earls all
Although I
down.
don't have a great relationship, I used to have a good relationship with them, but I was in,
I
in
will,
this shop for a long time. If you have a good relationship with them, then. Is it Joe still owns it?
I don't know, but when I was talking with them when we were gonna do the e-bike
Yeah,
thing, and they wanted to put up a flyer, and then they were all rented out, instantly, so we never got around to doing that, but I will go over and ask them. I can do that
you're gonna do
tomorrow.
Earls then?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay,
And is there anyone else that does? A different type of bike?
yeah, this one you pedal.
Mhm.
That's the one you
Old-fashioned
pedal.
ones.
That's like the one I have. Okay,
sounds like you had, 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 7.
I mean, that's a lot for the space we have.
Yeah,
yeah,
Is CVSD on here for the electric school bus?
no,
Should we call that out here as a partner?
yeah, because they came last year.
Yeah, the last 2 years, they've.
Well, someone turned it on or like moved it and then
Yeah,
left and then came back and moved it back.
do you wanna contact them, Kevin?
I can contact them, well, you've already got a thread going with, what's his name, Gary, is it Gary?
Yeah, with Gary, but he probably wouldn't, it would probably be, who's the guy, Barry?
Oh, Barry, right, not
Barry.
Gary, sorry. Yeah, I will reach out to Barry.
Okay.
My experience last year was a number of things.
So, yeah, keep in mind. We've got one meeting between now and the event,
Yeah,
so,
yes, because we're already running out at the end of the month here. Today's what, the 23rd?
yeah,
And so we have the 6th. And the thing is,
well, the meeting's on the 13th,
oh, that's right. the
and
13th.
it's already like kind of filled up with, just keep in mind that.
Yeah, right,
Okay, well, I
right,
should have
right.
answers by the end of this week, now that I got
Right,
the sheet.
so you can blind copy each other without getting into any trouble about open meeting laws and just let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We need the US Weather Bureau. So we can make sure that it's sunny.
Yeah.
I think I'm not gonna be here that day
Yeah.
for the.
Mm.
Neither can I, I'm glad to be away.
Oh, It's not good, we need lots of us, there's 7 of us, we need lots of us there.
On the
What
16th.
time?
On the 16th, it's
It's
wonderful.
getting me out of a 4-year-old birthday party that has 50 people invited. Yeah, I can't go. Last time we went, I was like,
We gotta be there by noon at the latest to start setting up.
the
and
3-year-old
11:30.
didn't even want anything to do with it. And I'm like, cause it's all adults and there are like 50 of us, like, and there was a super fancy cake. I was like, I'm never doing this again, except that I get obligated into doing it.
I mean, that's the day I'm leaving. So we usually leave at 8 in the morning, so, but if need be for setup, I could be there, but that's.
I will for sure be there. I put it on my calendar forever ago. It's,
not gonna be a big, I mean, the vendors are setting up.
Yeah,
And it's.
okay.
It's us
putting in
coordinating.
some traffic.
Yeah,
Greeting
exactly.
people,
Right.
traffic coordination, tearing down at the end of the day, making sure the place is clean. Yeah, good.
I'm gonna make some signs.
Okay,
Do that.
all right, thank you.
I can think of at least 1 or 2 of the folks, the EV owners, that would probably be willing to get there a little bit early and help with coordination.
That's the thing, we don't have a list, is how many,
Yeah, we do.
do we have a,
That's
Oh,
the
you-
list.
oh, okay, we do.
Yeah.
Ah,
So they're confirmed. Oh,
So far,
confirmed.
only
Wow.
6 have confirmed.
oh, dear.
oh, well, you can put me as a
Oh,
confirmed.
8, sorry.
Wow, a Chevy Volt. Oh, yeah.
Melinda, do you,
I'm up there.
Maybe
You
you-
can put me on, right, I'm up right above Kevin. You can put me as a confirmed.
You can put me as a no.
Okay,
I will check with my.
Unless I
better
could
half,
park
but I
my
think she's
car,
gonna be
I could
there.
park my car there all week.
Oh, I was gonna say, you're gonna be gone from work.
No, we'll be gone all week for work, and then Danielle's cousin's bachelor party in Toronto, which I've tried to get out. But I gotta go.
You're gonna go to a 4-year-old.
Right.
Instead.
I put the word out at work as well, I'll be following up there.
So, yeah, there's no other leaves. Oh, but the leaf is kind of going. And there's the Chadmo type charging, so it's.
right.
Oh, Melinda, you can full
I
leaf,
have a
right?
leaf, I'll bring it.
I can probably get another leaf to show up.
Okay.
So Melinda, you've emailed all these people,
Yep,
except for the people you don't have emails
right,
for.
yep,
I think those are both
That would be good to
coworkers
get
of mine, I can reach out to them.
the one with the ID4, it might be interesting to have.
Yeah,
It's a good card. That's,
Mhm.
the other thing I thought, if we're not getting enough variety in the vehicles, I can reach out to Elena, who does the Waterbury one, and ask her for her contact list. They had a really great selection of vehicles there,
Okay,
so I'll read. Touch base with her this week, see what she says.
oh, you do have a Leaf S plus.
Yeah.
Right, so
Yeah,
that's,
Melinda's.
oh, that's Melinda, you're signed up, there we go, okay. And, Mary Cooper. Cross,
so,
on the test.
looks like this coming week, really, well, it should have been this week, but we should be putting out, posts and,
There's still time in this week.
yeah, what is this, Thursday, Friday, yeah, so
Do you wanna draft something, or? and then
I
we-
could
we
pretty
can
much
all-
base it on what we did last year. So
Yeah.
it shouldn't be hard.
Right.
If you send out the content,
Mhm.
I'll start putting it on.
So,
I can do FPF, or you can do FPF, I can hit some of the local Facebook groups.
yeah, I'll do FPF, with the energy, email
Yeah,
address and,
I can just grab it from there and cross post.
So what's the actual, it's 23rd? 24th, 31st.
what,
I'm been doing a press release for the Observer,
2 weeks, September 2nd,
so
or wait.
7.
Seven.
It's 7,
Yeah.
okay,
Oops.
I will. draft something and send it to Jason Star.
If you want, I can just give you what the press release was last year, you could.
Yeah, that would be fine, yes, I'll work on that. And,
All right, so that's pretty much it, I think.
good.
So we should,
We still have agenda left, right?
Yeah, so do you have the PowerPoint I sent you, please? So, right now, it's. Wood and I, we're talking about the Champlain Valley Fair fun event, so I finally plodded through the recorded session. And they're having another one right now, I hope they don't change it too much. But Essex has done a good job working with, different groups, and they've got this scheduled now so that, did you come up?
What's that?
Did you
Oh,
PowerPoint?
Oh, sorry, I have to stop my share and reshare.
Sorry.
Looks like the second.
That's the second slide, yeah. So anyway, they have gotten it together. There's gonna be 5 days in a row. Could you go to the first slide? Because it's got the actual dates. Yeah, so the 30th to the 3rd, we've got a booth in the Miller Building, which is one of the better buildings. You can go to the next one, then, please. And David Scopin is trying to get the tickets and parking passes distributed this week. I think he was supposed to pick them up yesterday. We have a very specific gate to go through. There's a list of the energy committees that are signing up to participate. And finally, they only have one slot open that they still need one volunteer, and that's in the evening on Sunday the 2nd, which probably is going to be right at the tail end of the fair and get very, very little action. You know,
They should just end the booth.
they have one person there. We were trying to get 2 in every time slot.
But that's Labor Day weekend, right?
Yes,
Yeah, it is.
yes. So then, the next slide, please. So these are the commercial partners that are going to be, coming in at different times, and they're also part of the participants as well as the energy committee, so they got quite a few different groups. And then 4 groups are giving out either information or key tags and other swag and different things. So they got Burlington Electric, Vermont Gas, Vermont Co-op, and CVOEO.
good,
And they're going to have a laptop with a energy-oriented video running in constant cycle, so people could sit there and watch that. And we don't have to bring anything. Between the vendors providing all the information, we should just be there to. Can you go to the next screen, please? So we should just be there helping out people, talking to them, engaging the public. So right now I've got a Friday, September 1st. I'm working the 10 to 2 shift now. So
And I'm doing the evening shift, 6 to 10.
okay. I didn't see your name on the list, or did I just?
I don't know, I definitely signed up.
Yeah, you can always edit it and go in and put your name in too. And the next slide, please. This is just, we're gonna be somewhere up that D in the top left corner, that block of gray, we're gonna be in there near that area. And the next slide, please. So that's what we do. So I think they've really got a lot of people in there providing a lot of stuff. The woman who talked at BCAN conference about that funding, remember that long one?
Yeah.
She's gonna be there.
Oh, nice.
And she's got literature, and so there's gonna be a ton of literature, there's gonna be stuff to give away. And so it's, I'll have to commend the Essex Energy Committee for pulling this together, so they did a good job for a concept they threw together a couple months ago.
Yeah, it's great.
We still have the end, so,
9 minutes for the annual report?
yeah, well, if you want to, we should get it done fairly soon. It's not due yet.
I
but-
plan to until December.
No, but if you either take the one that's there, which has all the edits, or just print it as a PDF, it cleans all the edits out, so you can read the way it is now. We don't have to accept them all, so.
I put my comments in, but I don't have a login for Microsoft or whatever, so it just says guest user. The one
Right,
piece of feedback that I kind of had was that we have some numbers behind some of these things. Do we wanna give more concrete, like I did say, like. That, for example, that we're not gonna share like some of the numbers of the home energy survey, but. How are we gonna use it, or what value does it bring? And then the other one, I was like, for the solar array. Given that that was approved by town voters, we have numbers of what we expect to like save money. It might just be helpful
Yeah.
to like show kind of the impact. And then also how some of the stuff, like with that home energy survey, how some of that will translate into work going forward, or what sort of benefits, just so it's not a laundry list of what we did, but like where it's going and what it will do for everyone. Cause we are only in our second year, but it would be nice to show that we're really getting established and we have a plan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it says more at the bottom, dot, dot, dot.
Yes,
Yeah, so.
yes.
Good ideas.
okay.
Okay, other business, Safe Routes to School will be published tomorrow. Thank you, Kevin, for pulling that together with Amy. I've asked, I got Jason started to confirm he's gonna talk to his layout people about taking that box with the rules of the road and do it as a term. It's not a call out, it has another term where it's a box within an article, so that it shows up better. And he's gonna also use the Safe Routes to School logo. We're gonna try to put that as the above it or on the
Right.
side of it or something. It's a vertical because it's a state of
Yeah, it's a
Vermont,
vertical.
so he'll talk to his layout people about doing that. So we'll see what it looks like at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's
Nice.
neat.
Exciting.
Good.
Yeah, so that was what we do need, so I can't see the calendar. 1, 2, 3, the next one will be September 28th. So I need to get it submitted like a week ahead of that.
Is this a good time to do something winterization related?
Yes,
Cause I had an idea of doing an overview of, because the rebates are constantly changing. What's available for this, for winterizing right now. And kind of how, remind people how the process of like Efficiency Vermont works, or like. Just something like that.
Did we do a heat pump article last year?
I don't believe so,
We discussed it, but I don't think
I
we
thought
did.
Matt was talking about potentially doing. Like his journey with getting a heat pump article, I don't know, that's what I remember.
That's not a great one either. Yeah, sometime
and
in
you
the next
could,
couple months.
you could do one then the next, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Maria, would you like to start drafting?
Yeah, I can do
the
that.
first one, and then if you start to draft it, because if we get ourselves ahead of the game, it's easier. you know,
That's actually good, because then it will go from broad concept down to
Right.
looking at
And-
something.
One thing, so, for heat pump for me, it was like $2,000. It's not much. I mean, I had one quote that was 8,800. Maybe it was 27, I forgot. But my niece, I went to visit her in Massachusetts, and they're getting a quote, the same house as mine, 28,000.
Yeah, my in-laws are getting quotes in the 20 to 30,000.
For heat pumps?
Yeah, so we paid 10 in
Wow.
2019. We paid 10,000. but it took care of the whole house. We've used nothing but heat pumps
Yeah.
since then, and I feel like 10,000 is roughly equivalent to a high efficiency
Mm.
gas furnace,
Right.
give or take.
Oh, yeah,
A grand or two, right?
100%.
But yeah, my in-laws were looking at, I think 20 plus K, plus there's gonna be 30 to 40,000 to update, I guess, the transformer and then run a new line because they're in an old house that doesn't have 100 amp service, but only has 100 amp service, so.
Well, I'm wondering if it's market specific too, cause when I was in Dallas in June. They were saying, like, when we installed our central air. It cost us about $4,000. And the market down there, it's like a single unit is 12,000, but they're a very captive market because everybody needs AC.
Yeah.
Whereas up here, people get window units, they can't live without it. I'm wondering if Massachusetts, there's just a different, it seems like some of these. HVAC and other like major home equipment markets seem to not be consistent across the US, the more I've been looking into it.
So I don't know how, can we talk dollars and cents and
I
in
would,
this article, or, cause we don't, I mean, we
I
don't wanna tell people, oh, it's just
would be very,
wonderful.
Yeah, I would.
careful.
It's so home specific.
it's home specific and
Yeah.
it's situated, it's.
Yeah, cause I'll give you, I just, a few weeks ago, it's not heat pumps, but I went to, Fremont Solar and got a quote.
Mhm.
And I talked to my accountant, said this looks really good, and then our homeowners association slammed us. They allow it, but they said, now I have to buy a $2 million specialty liability policy.
For what liability?
Cause it's a condo.
What?
And as a result, it'll offset the savings.
Oh, so
I'm gonna have.
because
So
you're
we-
getting
we
rid
go
of
back to the
natural
project.
gas,
So
which
we,
can kill you.
so.
Fire liability?
We canceled the project.
What's the liability?
Yeah, I was like, what
Well,
liability?
because don't you know those panels could fall off the roof and hit one of the other tenants?
No, they
And
can't.
homeowners?
I can tell you, they do slough off snow at an alarm
Well,
rate,
that's,
that
you know,
is
and
dangerous.
so.
Nobody parks anywhere near the front of our garage, we always give it 10 feet back.
So, we found that out, and so. Despite the fact that, our account said, this credit is really good, for our taxes.
Mhm.
We just went, a $2 million specialty, I bought specialty policies for my wife's businesses when she had it, they are so expensive, And, it would be better than $1,000 a year.
Was that wrong, something wrong with our state laws that require that?
No, it isn't our state law,
It's
it's
the
the homeowners
HOA.
association can't turn down solar, that's a state law. But they can make their own rules.
And
for
they
how
can make
you
it
administer
impossible,
Yeah.
they have other ways.
So
of
that's right,
administering
I'm sorry, that got it kind of around a loop and why you don't wanna quote things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because what somebody could say, oh, I can do this for
Yes.
$12,000 minus the state, minus the rebate I get.
The dollars and cents you can talk about are the rebates available.
The rebates
For
are available
those who
today.
qualify.
Yes.
I think we
And-
can also talk in broad terms, like maybe we reached out to Building Energy or Vermont Electric Co-op and said.
Sorry.
It'd be probably broad statements, like people who switch from an oil burner or a propane
Tend to save.
system tend to save on their monthly energy bills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
So-
so unfortunate, but I hate to hear that that
And
there's
that
all
would-
these no's. It's so
That's what
imperative that we do stuff, and you get
Yeah.
all these no's. Oh, no, we get the vehicles from the state, sorry, like,
Hey,
oh,
It's
shall we,
red tape.
we can continue around, shall we adjourn? Do you have anything else?
sorry.
I got on a little tangent.
Let's finish this and make it look nice.
So I guess we need to brainstorm,
Couple of articles here.
not on the articles, but the brainstorm on what we want for the ARPA, very specific,
Yes.
targeted,
Yeah.
um.
Yeah.
Things that